think we're going to finish our book today. So remember when we left off, they saw the hundreds of armless hammerheads on the hillside. Creepy little creatures. And they don't want to let Dorothy and her friends cross. Let's see where I was here. Here we go. The lion gave a loud roar and dashed up the hill, and again a head shot swiftly out, and the great lion went rolling down the hill. "Let's call the winged monkeys for help," suggested the woodman. Dorothy put on the golden cap and spoke the magic words. In an instant, the Monkey King stood before her and asked for her command. "Carry us over the hill to the country of the Quadlings," answered the girl. The hammerheads yelled with vexation and shot their heads high in the air, but they could not reach the winged monkeys, who caught the four travelers and Toto up in their arms and flew safely over the hill. "This is the last time you can summon us," said the leader to Dorothy, "so goodbye and good luck to you." They were now in the country of the Quadlings. The people were short, chubby, cheerful, and dressed all in red. The friends walked up to the beautiful castle. At the gates were three girls in red uniforms trimmed with gold braid. As they drew near, one girl asked why they had come to the South Country. "To see the good witch, Glinda," Dorothy answered. The soldier took them to a room where they prepared themselves for the audience. When they were ready, they followed the soldier girl into a big room where the witch Glinda sat on a throne of rubies. She was beautiful and young. Her hair was a rich red and fell in flowing ringlets over her shoulders. Her dress was pure white, and her eyes were bright blue and kindly. "What can I do for you, my child?" she asked. Dorothy told the witch of the adventures they'd had. "My greatest wish now," she added, "is to go home, for Aunt Em must be worried." Glinda leaned forward, kissed the little girl, and told Dorothy she would send her home if Dorothy would give her the golden cap. Dorothy agreed and gave her the cap. The witch said to Dorothy's companions, "What will you do when Dorothy has left us?" It's a great big picture here where you can see Glinda. The Scarecrow planned to return to the Emerald City to rule over the people there. The Tin Woodman wanted to return to the land of the Winkies in the west, where he'd been asked to rule, and the Lion wished to return to the grand old forest where the animals had asked him to be their king. The good witch Glinda promised to use her 3 commands to the winged monkeys to get each to his separate destination. Then, having used up the powers of the golden cap, Glinda would give it to the king of the monkeys, and they might be free forevermore. "But you have not yet told me how to get home," said Dorothy. "Your silver shoes will carry you over the desert," replied Glinda. "If you had known their power, you could have gone back to Aunt Em the very first day you came to this country." "But then I shouldn't have had my brains," cried the Scarecrow. "And I shouldn't have had my lovely heart," said the Tin Woodman. "And I should have lived a coward forever," declared the Lion. "This is true," said Dorothy, "but now I want to go back home." "The silver shoes," said the good witch, "have wonderful powers. They can carry you to any place in the world in 3 steps, and each step will be made in the wink of an eye. All you have to do is knock the heels together 3 times and command the shoes to carry you wherever you wish to go." Dorothy hugged and kissed her friends goodbye, and Glinda the Good stepped down from her ruby throne to give the little girl a goodbye kiss. Dorothy thanked her for all the kindness she had shown to her friends and herself. Dorothy now took Toto up solemnly in her arms, and having said one last goodbye, she clapped the heels of her silver shoes together 3 times. "Take me home to Aunt Em!" she exclaimed. Instantly she was whirling through the air, so swiftly that all she could see or feel was the wind whistling past her ears. The silver shoes took but 3 steps, and then stopped so suddenly that she rolled over on the grass several times before she knew where she was. At length, however, she sat up and looked about her. "Good gracious!" she cried, for she was sitting on the broad Kansas prairie, and before her was the new farmhouse Uncle Henry built after the cyclone had carried away the old one. Uncle Henry was milking cows, and Toto jumped out of her arms and ran toward him, barking joyously. Dorothy found she was in her stocking feet, for the silver shoes had fallen off in her flight and were lost forever in the desert. Aunt Em had just come out of the house when she looked up and saw Dorothy running toward her. "My darling child," she cried. folding Dorothy in her arms and covering her face with kisses. "Where on earth did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy gravely. "And here is Toto, too. And oh, Aunt Em, I'm so glad to be home again." The end. That was fun reading y'all a long book. So I bet if you have seen the movie, you realize there's a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences too. Because this picture book is a shortened version of the original long Wizard of Oz, which is a really long chapter book. And you can see that the old-timey version, the original, is quite different than the movie. But I hope you enjoyed it, and we will start a different book tomorrow.